Let's imagine that one day, without warning, every human on Earth woke up to discover they were now the size of an ant. Not just metaphorically small, but actually 2 millimeters tall. At first, nobody knew what had happened. You'd open your eyes in bed, but realize your bed is now the size of a football field. Your pillow? A fluffy mountain. And good luck climbing out of your bed sheets. Now a tangled jungle of cotton vines. Getting out of your room would be the next challenge. Door handles? Useless. Now they're dozens of times taller than you, and unless you had a grappling hook and rock climbing skills, you're stuck inside like a bug in a jar. But if you did manage to escape, you'd enter a whole new world. A world that looks exactly the same, but is now full of monsters. That friendly cat you used to cuddle, now it's a roaring lion, a regular house spider, a nightmare with 8 legs, 8 eyes, and an attitude. And don't even get me started on cockroaches. They're now armored tanks on legs. The world hasn't changed, you have. But let's say you make it outside, running across the vast expanse of your front yard. Grass is no longer grass, it's a forest. Each blade towers over you like a skyscraper. The sidewalk is a desert of rough gray stones. A drop of water is now a swimming pool. And a rainstorm? A natural disaster. Raindrops slam into the ground like meteorites. One good hit, and you're out. And while you're struggling to find shelter under a leaf, a giant pigeon lands nearby and nearly crushes you under its foot. The very creatures you once ignored are now giants, and they have no idea you exist. Well, not yet, but let's think practically. Could society still function? Could we rebuild civilization at ant size? Maybe. First of all, let's talk transportation. Cars, forget about them. Even toy cars are massive. Your best bet would be to ride ants like horses. Ants are strong, fast, and already experts at crawling through small spaces. You'd need tiny saddles, of course, and maybe helmets because, let's face it, ant riding would be dangerous, especially if you accidentally chose a fire ant. Communication would also need to change. Your phone screen would now be the size of a football field. You could walk across the A in apps and still not reach the settings menu. So instead, you'd have to invent new ant-sized devices or build giant finger-controlled keyboards to tap one letter at a time. It would take an hour just to write hi. Now, let's talk food. You might think, if we're tiny, we'll starve. But the opposite is true. One single pizza could feed an entire city. A blueberry would be the size of a beach ball. A sandwich? That's a skyscraper full of calories, but getting to it is another story. You'd have to climb your lunch, and then there's water. A glass of water would be a swimming pool, literally. You'd need straws as tall as buildings just to take a sip. Or maybe send teams of swimmers to dive in with buckets. The logistics would be insane. But even if you solved food and water, there's a much bigger problem: the rest of the world. Animals don't care that you used to be at the top of the food chain. Now, you're at the bottom. Birds, snakes, cats, lizards, frogs. They'll all think you're just a crunchy snack. Even something harmless, like a breeze, is now a hurricane. Wind could blow entire towns away. And don't even think about walking across the street. A bicycle would crush a whole neighborhood. A car? That's an extinction-level event. But humans are clever, so let's say we regroup. We build cities underground, safe from birds and weather. We carve tunnels through tree roots. We harvest crumbs from kitchens and raindrops from leaves. Tiny civilizations rise beneath the feet of the giants. Of course, the big humans are still out there, unchanged. They look around, confused. Where did everybody go? They wonder, not knowing we're now hiding beneath their doormats. The few who avoided shrinking, maybe by sleeping in space or staying in submarines, are now the only ones who can help us. They build microscopes and magnifying lenses to find us. One of them accidentally steps on an entire town, but feels very bad about it afterward. Eventually, they build special cities just for us, full of small tunnels and tiny elevators. Giant robots help us carry leaves. Massive hands lift us from place to place like taxi services. It's a strange partnership, but it works. And maybe, just maybe, we learn something from it. We learn how small we really are in the universe. We learn to respect the little things, the ants, the bugs, the blades of grass we used to crush without a second thought. Because when you're the size of an ant, you realize the world is huge, wild, and a little terrifying, but also full of wonder, and suddenly even a drop of water becomes an adventure.